Welcome to Menon Thoughts, where technology, life, and growth comes together with purpose. I'm Govind Menon, here to walk with you through the challenges of your career and times of healing. So, today's video is an extension of the last video that has been posted on the channel. The last video, as in the Agile video. Um, so, we have covered two parts in the Agile world or how to work with Agile. The first one being what is Agile and how it works. The second was how to build a Agile team. Right. The first one was more on making sure that the young engineers understand what is Agile. The second one was targeted towards the managers who wants to build a agile team, or people who are running agile teams, how they should manage or how they should build their agile teams. This one is the third in the series. We will have one more after this, the fourth one, which we will mention about at the end of the video. This particular one is again targeted for young engineers or people who are working within an existing agile team, or a new agile team has been formed and you want to understand how you as a person can contribute in in that particular agile team. Where do you fit in the puzzle of the agile team, right? So as I had mentioned in my previous video, agile isn't just a method, it is not a framework, it is a mindset, right? If you want to go and refer back, you can go back and look at the video which was on the agile concept. So being an part of an agile team isn't about attending daily stand-ups or updating Jira tickets. That is what waterfall method was all about, right? Um, it is about the mindset, the trust, and the ownership that you will be picking up as part of the agile team, right? So agile starts with you, not with Scrum, not with Kanban, not with Jira tickets, nothing of that sort. Agile starts with each and every individual in the team, with the basic liner saying that how do you show up in that agile team, right? As a member of the agile team, are what part of that puzzle you are trying to solve. So what makes a great agile team, I had tried explaining in the previous video, but just as a recap, I just wanted to pick up 5 basic pointers which defines what is a good agile team, right? Or more than that, I would say what makes you a good agile team member. Okay, right? So the first and the foremost thing in an agile team, my opinion, again, it is just an opinion, is be reliable and not just available. They're, they're two different distinct words, right? I mean, being available for every team meeting, for every coding is not just the factor. Doing your task and just walking away is not just the most important factor in there. You have to be reliable. You have to show up consistently, deliver with your commitment. It is not about just being online and then being there. It is about being dependable. All right. So why that is important? That is important because if you fail, there will be somebody at the back end of it who will fail because you have taken that responsibility of completing that particular part of the task. And since Agile is very fast in terms of deliverables, one small piece that is not being delivered will impact the entire sprint, right? Which means it will impact the next sprint, next sprint, next sprint, and also the velocity of the team. So it is not just about being consistent or being reliable in one particular sprint. It is about being consistent across the various sprints that the team would be performing and delivering. The second foremost point for any person who is going to be part of the agile team, whatever role he plays, own the outcome, not just the task, right? I mean, not just the task that has been given to you, the collective factor being whether the outcome of that particular sprint is acceptable, not just your story, your ticket. It has to go beyond that. You have to understand a feature, the impact, the commitment to the customer, as in the product manager or the product owner, right? The part that you are doing of your story, how is it impacting the bigger feature that you are building for the customer, and how it is impacting the others who are working on different features. So there might be cases where one of the features that you are building has got an impact on somebody else's feature, right? I mean, that is called a dependency. So let's say a person is working on the API side for the user management screen, and you are responsible for building that particular user management screen, and at the same time there is somebody who is working on the user UI, the front end part of it. So if your part of the API is not ready, that guy's user management will not be completed. Now let's take a step ahead of this. Let's say the user management is ready, user uh, management UI is also ready, the API is also ready. But if it has not been done properly in terms of the storage, small example, the password and all are not properly encrypted or whatever it is, it will have an impact on the person who is building the authentication module. So let's say you had not put a flag for active, inactive status, or even the password policy. Let's assume that when the password expires in 60 days, you have not put it there, or you have put it there, but you put it in minutes instead of days, whatever reason, right? The person who is building the authentication and authorization module, who has to validate whether the password has expired, and his use case is basically checked for days, and you have stored it in whatever format, whatever reasons in the database, it has 60 minutes instead of 60 days. Example, instead of storing it as 60 as an integer, if you store it as 60 into 60 days into 24, whatever reason you thought that is the way it has to be stored in minutes. And if that guy is trying to validate it against days, not against the minutes, and he picks it up and says 60 days, because you have stored it in minutes, he would pick it up as 100 and whatever, I mean 16 to 24, whatever the number is, he will consider it as that many days. Just an example, right? Okay. So own the outcome, not just the task. Third most important factor, and this is where most of the youngsters fail up, or actually not fail up, that's a wrong word, sorry. Um, they tend to go into their shell, is not speaking up. So speak up, but also listen, right? I mean, so most of the youngsters would be good listeners, but they don't speak up. You have to be very, very vocal about the blockers ask questions, suggest improvements, but also give enough space for others, right? I mean, so there are two different people who would be there in the team most of the times. One was who are introverts, the other ones are extroverts. That's a common thing for every human, right? So there might be scenarios where you are not actually speaking up about your blockers, and hence the others are not knowing that there is a blocker. You might have a good suggestion which is there, which can make the performance better, for example, and you're not speaking up, so others will not know that. They will have to struggle on their own to figure it out. If you give that particular info, that might help the others cut down the time that they might require to develop that particular module, right? The extroverts, the main problem is basically like they try to dominate others. So great team members never dominate others. They normally listen, they give space, they collaborate. So the ideal concept would be all these guys have to collaborate with each other. That's how the team becomes better. So the youngsters have to speak up. The people who have got experience have to collaborate more, right? I mean, give space to the youngsters, but also communicate with them. Fourth most important factor: adapt quickly, learn consistently, constantly. Sorry, not consistently, constantly, right? So agile is about course corrections. Be okay with changes, quick changes. What you have done yesterday might be redundant today, in the next day, in the same sprint, or even in the next sprint. So you have to adapt quickly and also learn new ways of solving problems. You can't take too much time within a sprint to solve a problem, right? Fifth and the most important factor, which I think is critical, also is support the team, not just yourself. Right. This is more for the Sachins of the team, right? Help unblock others, mentor the juniors, celebrates the success with others. This whole cycle helps in building that psychological safety, which is what high performing teams thrive on, right? I mean, so if there is a Sachin and if he is able to unblock uh, a young intern in the team and then mentor him, and when next time when he's delivering a better code quality, he celebrates it with him. That builds a safety net for the youngster, right? I mean, that is an important thing for a high performance team. People working collaboratively with each other. Yeah. So these are the 5 pointers that I had. So in my 29 plus years of experience, I have built probably three, four, five, six very high performance teams. One of them was uh, when I was working with that healthcare organization that I was talking about. We had a team of 7 people, and I'm still in touch with most of them. And I think they also are in touch with each other. That was one of my best high performing teams. That was in Chennai, a Chennai based team. Few of them are now in Microsoft working as architects. Few of them are working in other organizations as architects or leads or development managers. Um, the reason why I say that was my best team was because they were never the loudest or or the fastest, but they were consistent. You threw any problem to that team, they will have a solution. That's why the team was the best, right? And not that everybody was like a Sachin in that, right? I mean, we had a good mix of people who were at various levels. 7 member team. It wasn't a very big team, right? Few of them are now in US also, right? Um, so US and working in good multinational companies. So they were the ones where I thought where there was a consistency, clarity, and the team cared for each other, right? I mean, I even remember when I used to be the dev manager for that team, and when I was in trouble, sometimes talking with the product managers and all, uh, my Sachin, the guy whom I treated as the most significant contributor, he would step up and help me all the time, and even the interns would come up and help me. Any timeline was thrown at me by the project managers, even though or the product managers or the product owners, even though I tried pushing back sometimes in corporate, you cannot, the team would stand up with me. Yeah, and we would celebrate internally. The team was not known as the best team in the whole organization. There was 300 plus people, and there was a lot of teams. I mean, a lot of development teams there, and probably we were the smallest team because we were performing so well. At times, we never got additional resources. I mean, there were times when other teams were like a 15 member, 20 member team, but we remained 7 member team throughout the time I was with that organization till that team was dismantled and separated because at that time that particular product that we were working on was shelved after a few years, I think 2 3 years, or it was merged with another product team, and so the team had to be dismantled, and there was a bit of reorganization in the organization also, right? But that 2 3 years I worked with that team, it was beautiful. It was the best team that I have worked with, right? People in that team I could count on in times of a deadline crunch or a design debate. Anything, any of that. I mean, that was a very unique thing that was there with that team, right? Okay. Uh, yeah, that team was the one which actually had, they made everyone else look better. I mean, so because the contribution was so good, each and every member of the team looked better to the outside world. They, always people used to come back to us and discuss technical stuff and all because we were so consistently delivering what we were building. So if you are growing in a team or leading one, remember agile is only as strong as your weakest link. I have mentioned it multiple times. So look for that weakest link in your team and try to support that person. If you are the weakest link, try to be more vocal and try to learn consistently and try to become the strongest link. That is what I think, right? Again, weakest link doesn't mean that you are a bad coder. It could be you are not being empowered with getting to that level. Okay, right. Yeah, that's all. This was again a short video because this some part of this I had already covered in the previous 2 videos. So this was just to give a guidance to people how to become better agile team members. So just one more thing, the next video would be about how to build a good software project using agile. That will probably put it sometime next week, right? Yeah, that's all from me in this video. This is Menon Thoughts signing off. Until we connect again, keep learning, keep caring.